Across the world, the introduction of the modern state has greatly transformed traditional societies and systems of government. It has created boundaries that didn't exist and compelled communities to live within newly defined borders. In many countries in Africa, kingdoms form the basic structure of organization. In East Africa, in Uganda, the Buganda kingdom has had a long and impressive history. Founded in the 14th century, it quickly became one of the largest and most powerful states in the region. The Buganda are currently led by their king, known as the Kabaka, who is the head of all the clans. The current Kabaka is Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II. He is the 36th Kabaka of the kingdom.
All the subjects of the Kabaka are ready to listen to what he says, and we do without question what he tells us to do. Yeah. So, and because of this, that we grew knowing that he's supreme. He says we do this, we follow.
This kingdom is 900 years old, yet the country Uganda is just 50 years old. So the kingdom, the Kabakaship, is very, very important to us as Buganda. All our things, all our heritage, our culture, you can say that everything rotates around him. You can actually say that without him, we don't exist.
In recent times, however, external influences, the creation of the modern state of Uganda, and conflict have relegated the kingdom's leadership to a largely ceremonial role. In particular, the relationship between the kingdom and President Museveni's central government has become strained. The two have disagreed over land claimed by the kingdom, the creation of a federal system of government, and more autonomy for the kingdom to run its affairs.
The kingdom has persistently demanded a federal system of government because we want to handle our internal affairs. That doesn't negate the central government, as some politicians tend to imagine. On the contrary, it strengthens the constituent parts of Uganda, and I think it carries some of the burden from off the shoulders of the leaders in the central government.
The Buganda kingdom was established in the 14th century by Kato Chintu. He led a group of refugees who had fled from the nearby Bunyoro kingdom. Here, at a swampy hillside called Nagalabi, he defeated his half-brother Bemba, established a unified state, and became the first Kabaka or ruler of Buganda.
This place here is the home of Kabaka Chintu. This was the real place where the battle between Chintu and Bemba took place. It was at this particular place that Bemba was poorly defeated, and then Chintu became the Kabaka of the city again.
The foundation of the kingdom is an elaborate clan system, which has evolved to ensure harmony and well-being in the kingdom. Each clan has a unique identity and specific responsibility to the Kabaka. At independence, the previous Kabaka Mutesa II became Uganda's first president and Milton Obote, the country's prime minister. But after just 4 years, Obote ordered General Idi Amin to storm the Kabaka's palace, and the Kabaka fled into exile.
I'm Princess Jenny Paragoma. I'm a daughter of the late King Sir Edward Mutesa II. He was a king and then the first president of Uganda. I was quite young, but you can remember how, what happened, and things changed. So many people were killed inside the palace. Some escaped, and thank God that my father was able to escape from the palace. Because he was a trained soldier, he used those military tactics to escape. He fought his way through almost single-handedly. He went to Burundi, and then from Burundi, he went to the United Kingdom.
The traditional kingdoms were abolished, and Obote began a reign of terror that continued well after he was overthrown by Amin.
Amin was the army officer who did destroyed all these people. Killed, buildings were set on fire, pegs killed, not even pegs, even senior officials were killed. Quite a good number of people. This is the place which was dug up by Obote and Amin for killing people, whoever used to be here. They used electrical power with the water. Whoever was forced to get in there could not come out when it still arrived.
Mutesa died in the United Kingdom, an isolated figure.
I feel bitter because I'm sure he would have been here now. And the unexplained way of, the way he died, there are a lot of questions surrounding his death. It's more of that foggy area which really bothers me a lot. How did he die? What happened? What went wrong? Those questions, I think, they will never be answered.
The body of late Sir Edward Mutesa had just arrived from England, being saluted, received by Amin, head of state.
For 27 years, the Buganda were without a king. It was only in 1993, after numerous changes in government, that President Museveni restored the kingdoms of Uganda. Mutesa's heir, Ronald Mutebi, who had grown up in exile, returned and was crowned the Kabaka.
It is really very paradoxical that the youth mostly, who never even witnessed the real, operation of a well-established kingdom, are the people who are supporting the kingdom at the moment, when the kingdom is as it is. At the moment, the king does not have taxes, it does not have a proper administration as such, because if it is there, it doesn't have the real apparatus to work. But the kingdom is supported by the goodwill of the generation, of the people, of the youth.
Stephen runs a small spare shop in Kampala's busy Kiseka market. 60,000 traders are based here. He is chairman of an association called Bangawa, the Buganda Workers Association. The group promotes cultural activities within the kingdom.
Buganda's culture is so dynamic, so wide. It can be broadly analyzed as political, social, and economic. That is Buganda's culture. Based on the social setup, you find that we have clans. All the Buganda's social setup rotates around 52 clans. So in 52 clans, that's where you find that members of the same clan, they cannot intermarry.
On weekends, Stephen organizes the traditional practice of Enchoto. Children gather together as their ancestors did to learn about the Buganda culture and practices through plays, dances and songs. It's a form of teaching that binds each generation to the next.
What we call a chot, that our grandparents, they used to gather logs of firewood. They put them together, they lit fire. So that was a classroom. It is where grandparents could provide informal education. They could impart knowledge, discipline, tell culture of the past to the present generation.
Enchoto means how the culture of Uganda grows, come from where it started from and up to where it is.
Twala omukisa guno kusookera ddala njagala okwaniriza abayizi bange mwenna, abayizi baffe mwenna abali wano ku kyoto ky'olwaleero twekubireko mu ngalo.
In the 21st century, the kingdom has had to incorporate new communities, new technologies and new ideas within its borders. Language and culture are very much alive.
Kampala is not about Buganda people. It's a mixed. Yeah, there are very, very many people. The Banyankole are here, the Acholis are here, the Lugwaras are here, the Langis are here, the Basoga. It's quite a number of people that are here.
Patrico Mujuka, a radio DJ and actor, is a popular face in Kampala.
But at least you said it.
At the Bat Valley Theatre, he and his fellow actors use comedy to comment on the issues facing people across the country.
I'm reading people's faces, knowing what the cards were, by the way they
You push me, push again. The people, it is there, enjoying. We are suffering here, and the woman is coming to pick it.
Poverty cuts across all political lines.
Basically, that skit is talking about that kind of environment where we have that slum and then the different people that rent there. You know, there are very, very many kind of conflicts that come up. And this is common in cities like Kampala because you have very many slums around. And this is the kind of life that really is there that we are putting on stage.
Radio has become the medium of choice in the country. Even the kingdom has its own station.
CBS FM is it's like the kingdom mouthpiece. There are many things the Kabaka would like to, many messages he would like to put across, the various ministers that we have, the clan heads, whereby they can talk about issues, different issues concerning the Buganda, and then Uganda, then Africa, and maybe the world at large. So you learned most of your English from Mayungwe Primary School?
Mayungwe Primary School. When I from Mayungwe Primary School, I go to Chetume Primary School, Chatekera Primary School, Kayembe Primary School.
Now where are the secondary schools?
You wait.
All right.
But underneath the surface, storm clouds have been gathering. In 2009, annoyed at the criticism coming from CBS Radio and the rise of anti-government sentiment, President Museveni closed down the station. It was allowed to resume broadcasts over a year later, but many issues remain unresolved.
Well, currently we are broadcasting, but without the license. Because when we're being reopened, just said, yes, go and operate, but we shall look at the issue of the license at a later time. And you're still waiting. But actually that is also intimidating in a way, you know, when you're working without a license. It means anytime you can be stopped. But with us, since we know what we are doing is right, we continue with what we're doing.
The events that led to the closure of the kingdom's radio station reflect wider differences with the central government. The Buganda administration has continually pushed for a return of the properties confiscated by Obote, which has not taken place. Without the means of raising finances, the administration argues it cannot effectively carry out development activities. This has led to calls for a federal system of government that would allow the kingdom greater autonomy in conducting its affairs.
We get the revenue from the goodwill of the people. They contribute. And the work we are doing here as ministers is voluntary. It's voluntary, but that is not sustainable. So we are negotiating with the central government to see that these properties are returned and those that they are using so that they can pay rent.
I think finally, if you get down to the ground, whoever finally claims ownership will find that there's nothing much they can do with the land because it's been overtaken by a lot of events, including people have bought the land and they hold land titles. It's more of an emotional and, in my opinion, an ego and political issue than a real economic issue, if you like.
The week of celebrations marking the 20th anniversary since Ronald Mutebi became the Kabaka is here. Kampala is abuzz with excitement. Each clan prepares for its role on the big day.
When the Kabaka is in Kampala, it doesn't remain the same. People leave whatever they are doing to come and at least have a look at him. At least wave, and when he waves back to a crowd, you really see people are so loving. They really love their king.
All right, so nyini mukwano twagala kuwa ku tickets ogende enambole
we are to remember the coronation day of our Kabaka, His Majesty Ronald Muwenda Mutebi. So there is no doubt I must be there because that is my obligation.
Patrick Omutaka is the head of the drum makers clan. When a new Kabaka assumes the throne, new drums are produced.
The Chirega of Buganda Kingdom. Chirega means a person who makes drums for the kingdom. So I'm the overall head of that department.
Each year, the Kabaka himself must play the royal drums in deference to the spirits.
These drums are not just musical instruments, but they represent something bigger for the kingdom. That part which is not human for the kingdom, those spirits for the kingdom, and they are treated as a king with the queen. The Kaolugumo is the king, Namanyonyi is the queen.
big day, and the large and at times unruly crowd eagerly awaits the kabaka. The pomp, the ceremony and the expectation is palpable everywhere. The excitement of the crowd is roused further by the presence of President Museveni. In recent years, he has not attended the coronation anniversaries because of the cold wind blowing between his government and the Kabakas. Ceremony, Museveni makes a dramatic announcement that may change all this.
The MOU deals with the issue some people who like to recklessly fish in troubled waters have been using regarding some issues, including the former Masaza and the Mora estates, as well as the harmonization of the rights
His government has agreed to return the lands that were confiscated in 1966 and pay rent on all the properties the government has occupied. It is groundbreaking news and may be the first important step towards reconciling the kingdom with the central government. Can Buganda and the central government agree to work together to promote development, provide services and improve the lives of all the citizens of Uganda?
We need to be part of Uganda, but we need the federal system so that we benefit from our own resources. The Buganda and even other regions, like now the Bunyolo, they discovered fuel. Even for them, they are demanding federal. It is only federal that can provide a concrete solution to the problems of Uganda and the problems of what? Of Uganda.
Whatever the kingdom is doing and the central government is doing is for the good of the people. I don't see why actually there should be a conflict. The people need hospitals, they need schools, they need electricity, they need clean water, and this is what we are looking at. So really what we are saying that is to share the responsibilities.
Can the new relationship and partnership ensure that tradition and culture remain powerful forces in today's world and help communities to manage the challenges of globalization and change?
I think everything authentic lasts. The heritage, the social norms, they're very authentic. I mean, history teaches us that you cannot crush the kingdom. It's simply impossible. The colonialists tried it, they failed. Post-independence governments have tried, they've failed. So that's a lesson for everyone. And we also do realize that we are within Uganda and we want to work with the rest of the country. So all that is required, in my view, is mutual respect.